just let's get rolling here. Just real quick. Warren Krekelerg via Bob Moen gave me a pretty sizable collection of his photos that he'd taken years ago, and he wanted them scanned. So I don't think any of you guys have ever seen any of this stuff. So, and Warren, I'm going to turn a lot of this over to John Goodman and to Bobby Anderson and some of the guys that used to hang with him, because I didn't really know him that well. I knew him, but you guys can fill in the blanks on a lot of this stuff. And basically all I did was just load a bunch of slides in here, and you guys can figure out where they are and what they are and tell me, because I don't know.
Okay, Warren passed away on March 12th. His birthday actually is this week, and unfortunately didn't make it, but he spent all of his time with the Burlington Northern, prior to that, the Great Northern, and a small stretch at Amtrak. And let's see what we've got here. I was with him for, I'd say, 85% of these pictures. Go ahead.
Go. Down button, right?
Should what?
Supposed to work.
Geek Squad, Geek Squad.
Yep. Okay. This is number one.
Okay, this is the Burlington Northern Red River. This used to be the 4, and it's the president's car, and then it became the traffic department car once Mr. Mink got here. I do not know the site, but anybody want to volunteer that? It's certainly not down on Mississippi Street.
We don't know where that is.
Sorry about that. We're 0 for 1, Greg. Okay, this is one of the cars, Eric, that's a sister car to the one that MTM has. This is the 812, I believe, and it became the B6. And it was gutted inside except for the galley, and it was a Compass training car. They had tables in there to bring the employees in for the Compass. This might be the car that sat over by Como Shops for quite a while. I don't know. Eric, do you know if it was the 11 or the 12 over there? One of the two cars sat there for the longest time. The other car was up at Fargo at Dirk Lenthe's shop where it sits today. Oh, okay. Well, that answers that. Okay, this is one of the early Amtraks, and I'm guessing because the way it is an ex-Great Northern locomotive.
Yeah, and I think this is one that had a little mishap, obviously, if you look at the windshield. You know.
Wait a minute, that's air conditioning. If that's the case, this must be in the same pull area, whoever does the, well, this would be Dale Street.
Dale Street, I would think then, yep.
Again, this was posted this week. This is the former Twin Cities, which was a parlor car that ran between the Twin Cities and Duluth. MTM has a sister car, the Twin Ports. This was the Twin Cities. And this was a heavyweight. It had a galley in it and had, I believe, 22 to 24 revolving seats. And Warren and I made plenty of trips because the railroad did not turn this car at Duluth, and it went up backwards. So that if you got on the car coming south on the Gopher, you got two very nice rail fence seats looking out the back of this. I don't know if this car exists anymore. I saw BNSF roster in Railroad and Rail Fan a couple of months ago, and I don't think I saw this, but you know, obviously this is a freshly painted car, and this is Jackson Street, isn't it? With a turntable or the transfer table.
And
okay.
Eric, didn't you tell me that Twin Ports still, when you tore the roof off of some of that, you could still see the old roof that they had covered over when they modernized the car, right?
It's a heavyweight car, that much is certain.
Well, and then there was a third car also that never got named. That was out on the
Well, the
west.
1085 ran between Seattle and Portland. It never had a name as far as I can tell.
Right. It is.
It's where? Really? Wow,
Yes, I knew.
gotta be the oldest car.
Okay, now whose car was that?
Okay, this is my car that I own. Bill Porter's. This is the car that came to me from the Northern Pacific, and the superintendent at the yards over there ordered that he was told to throw green paint all over the tail sign. And you see that they painted over the name Northern Pacific, they painted over the name Route of the Vista Dome North Coast Limited, and the tail sign, apparently the green sloppy paint has been removed from it, but I haven't seen it. But they did almost anything they could to avoid me getting anything that said Northern Pacific. The number had to stay on there, but other than that, this was a wonderful car. It was a tail car, one of 6 that operated on the North Coast Limited. I believe, Mr. Cobra, didn't we decide this was in 2 of the 3 major 1962 derailments?
Correct.
And I do not believe it derailed at any point. If it did, it certainly stayed upright.
That's like Superior, maybe? Does that look like Superior? Pointed towards Duluth,
Possible. That looks like the consist of the very late
the Gopher Badger or
Badger.
whatever, yeah.
because this parlor cars came off. And it was just a couple of coaches. One of them was a basically a news butcher car. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're Superior.
There you go, Superior.
That car didn't derail and ran it wrecked, but it derailed itself.
Wow.
Huh.
Okay,
Where is this car?
really interesting.
Where is this car now, John?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, yeah, where is this car now, John, again?
I sold it to a fellow in Aurora, and after he had a major heart attack, his widow sold it to the Providence in Worcester, and it is their private car, and it's painted red below the belt rail and green up above. And it is receiving kid gloves treatment out there, and I think things are pretty good with the car.
Good.
That's
Okay,
good to hear.
this is the big curve going towards Duluth. And it's interesting because the last picture shows a bus sitting there. And of course, the Great Northern wanted to get out of Duluth and leave the severance pay to the Northern Pacific, who still ran the 2 Bud cars to Staples. And so they worked a deal, which I have a document on, where the train would terminate in Superior and the bus took you to the bus depot in Duluth, which many of you may know is right up the block from the depot, not where the bus depot is today. And that got the Great Northern out of having to pay any severance pay to the ticket clerks at the Union Depot in Duluth.
So this train is being wide, right? That's why the switch
Probably.
engine on the front. So,
Probably, yes. And it went over to the yard and it was serviced over at the yard and then came back. Now here's one of Warren's favorite locomotives, the 512. 512 was purchased for the Red River set of equipment. And I do not know, Bill Dredge, do you know, did the Great Northern more or less assign engines to trains? That's kind of bizarre. This is what, an E7?
and it's,
Oh, notice this is after the merger because the goat plate on the front under the headlight is gone.
so that would narrow it to 71.
This would be
70.
early
70,
70 because the merger was March
Yep.
3rd, 1970. And for some reason, I imagine the rail fans. So I'm going to ask you, who in here's got that? One of you must have it. I mean,
So in that RPO car, that's a 47 builder railway post office?
I believe so,
It
yes.
looks like with 2 doors.
This is a 30 seat or a 30-foot RPO with only the one section.
I don't know.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
all right, next. Uh-oh, Dan. Geek Squad. Oh, there. Now, did that? Hang on, it's doing all kinds of weird stuff here. Oh, I see. Hang on, I pushed the wrong button. All right, we saw that one. Okay, 512 Superior again. This must be after they widened the train then. This
Yeah.
is all one trip.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes. Is that, what's the vehicle there behind where the guy's standing? Is it a high railer or is that just a? Oh. Huh. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna rush to judgment. This is Jackson Street, but it's obviously
Actually,
heavyweight. Go ahead.
is that the boiler house behind the Minneapolis station?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so, because you can see the switch coming off Bridge Switch just to the left of the car off going over the
Very,
Mississippi. there.
very old, friction bearing rods under the car, which to me indicates it's a Woody. It's just a maintenance away, but it's got a vestibule on each end, which to me would say it was probably late 1890s to very early 1900s, because the steel cars really came in the late part of the early 1900s.
You know, when I was in high school, there was one of these, it might have been this car that sat down along St. Anthony, Maine, just about under the Central Avenue Bridge.
Hmm.
There's still some track along that street there. Now, John, maybe this is some trip you guys took or something, I don't know. That St. Louis area maybe, or GM&O or something, I was trying to figure out where this is, so I was hoping you might be able to tell me.
Well, we rented my NP car. Actually, I counted as my car because both Bill Cordes and Homer Johnson are deceased, so by right of that, anyway, we had a very wealthy group that came to me and wanted to go down to St. Louis, and they were coming back on the Delta Queen. So we basically, Warren and his wife Diane and myself, we went down with the group, made sure they had plenty to drink, plenty to eat. And because it was single level, long before Superline or double decks were thought of, I always arranged with the steward to feed the group in the dining car. And once we got to St. Louis, we parked because the train in the afternoon, the Abraham Lincoln got in there late in the evening, and then the people took cabs the next morning, not too far a distance to where the Delta Queen was loading. So the three of us came back on the car, and that was a wonderful trip coming back. There we are in Union Station. This
Yeah.
isn't St. Louis Union
St. Louis.
Station. This is, no. This is Chicago Union Station.
Yeah,
I just didn't get enough of those kind of charters of wealthy people to make a go of it, but it sure was fun. I do not know about this. This is a Milwaukee and I don't know what it is. Is it a F?
I don't know, but that's in Red Wing. FP, you said, Bill? 91A.
I'm sorry, I cannot help you on this one. Okay, there's one of the many private cars that Warren was so interested in photographing. I believe that this is a New York Central car, but I don't know that. This is not the car that we owned previous to the Northern Pacific car. Okay, this Warren was a PR in 1967 on the Empire Builder. So this looks like, who knows when this paint scheme came on the Great Northern.
67.
Okay. He might have jumped off quickly to get this shot coming. I have no idea where this is. Anybody went? Here's your, okay. Yeah, here's the Empire Builder, and obviously we're certainly not in Minnesota. We're somewhere in western North Dakota or Montana. He loved to shoot black and white. I missed that nasty comment. What was the nasty comment? Oh, very good, very good. They paid him to be his PR, but he probably would have done it for nothing because it's a great job and, you know, that type of thing. Now, are we passing the Empire Builder? No,
Well,
yeah, the 321 is similar to the locomotive that MTM has. They have 325, so this would be one of the SD40F.
SDPs.
SDP 40, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, this is at the Minneapolis passenger yard of the Burlington. And I had a storage track there that I kept for several cars that several of us owned. This is a Burlington parlor car, a flat end off the Kansas City, Chicago train, the Silver Terrace. And under Amtrak tore out the drawing room underneath and put a little galley underneath it. And this ran on Amtrak for several years till the problem was they wanted to have a new image, so they got M Fleet up here, and M Fleet ran the local train. And Amtrak had so many different cars. This was on the Empire Builder. Again, it's a full parlor car, drawing room under the dome. It was a sister car to the Silver Tower. Okay, there is one of the two cars that the Burlington can use Silver Dome. So this is the original car that was outshopped at Aurora, and MTM has a Silver Castle. Are they doing anything with it, Eric? Simple no would be fine. Oh, okay, well. Yeah, this is the one that started everything.
Oh,
Yes,
That's neat.
made at the Aurora
Okay.
shops in what, Bill, the late 45.
but this
Okay.
place is a plethora of information. These guys remember all this crap, you know?
This
Puget
is,
Sound?
this is interesting because I only see one dome plus the Great Dome.
Well, isn't this the Seattle section? Aren't we along
Oh,
Puget
okay.
Sound here?
Boy, you're better than I am.
Exact same spot of publicity for. The guys from Fishing Boat.
Oh, okay.
Marlboro man.
Sure.
Is this the Heinrich Blessing? Okay. Okay, this looks to be where? This
King
is-
Street.
Where is it?
I'll bet that's King Street. And that's one of the,
Well, this would be
Yeah.
either the train to Vancouver, or the train to Portland.
and the Starlight on the right. This might be, well, no, because that would have gone to the BN. So this is BN. Well, my guess was King Street, but maybe it is Portland. I don't know.
Yeah, with the speed race, although they did
Yeah.
say, Bruce Sleeper, to Seattle on one of the full trains, so. My bet would be, Portland.
Okay.
That's the same as we saw earlier.
51, yeah,
Got to be.
that's Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Portland and there's one of the high windowed cars off of the Shasta. Now, he and I made it 2 or 3 trips out there to Portland. Oh, these are what? Okay, this is standing outside the Portland Union Station with the overnight train, the Cascade coming in. That was a wonderful spot. It was a public sidewalk, so nobody could throw you out. But back then, nobody was throwing anybody out unless you were really obnoxious.
Minneapolis,
Look at that, Greg. That's neat.
they're wiring that train.
Now, that stub of that thing still exists there for some
Yeah.
reason.
You're talking about Bridge Switch?
Right.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah, there's the powerhouse behind and those chutes up above. When I got there in 68, they weren't using them anymore. But years ago, the mail was brought down to those and brought down the elevators.
Well, isn't that carrying the heat into the depot?
Some of it is, yes. Yep, yep. There's the Burlington Coach Yard. And there's townhouses and all of that sitting there. And this is a really bad mistake that Amtrak made because the coach yard was still there. But they chose to bring boxcars and baggage cars over and force the Mississippi Street gang of mechanics to work out of those cars rather than use the existing coach yard, which had a drop pit. But I suppose it had something to do with selling the property for all these apartments and townhouses. I don't know where this is. It's,
Either. Well, he worked at Minneapolis Junction for a while too, didn't he? So
yes, he did.
that would be my guess. I guess.
He did like locomotives.
Yeah.
If you're not a locomotive or a passenger train fan, I'm sorry. Well, look at the size of the NP there.
that's,
No, this one I asked him about, I think he said this was like a Boy Scout special or something like that.
Didn't the Boy Scouts go to Farragut, Idaho? And I don't know, Bill, is a Farragut, Idaho on the NP?
No, this is over by the U of M.
Yeah. By Union.
Yeah.
That was,
Well, that's that NP. Bill, what's that tower? 14th or something like that? That was an NP tower, right?
He's headed west.
Avenue South.
Correct. He's heading west.
Yes, that's a connection. Oh, it would have to be a 98, wouldn't it? If it's
Well,
otherwise a
this is
3.
KBN though. Both 45s, aren't they? Yeah, there's your going away shot there.
that says a lot.
Yep, that kind of places it. That's that little
Stoners.
footbridge at like
Yeah.
Dearman Field. Wasn't that over in that area, you know? So,
Right.
yeah.
The story around the passenger department was when the Boy Scouts had a special train, they cleaned it up before they got off the train. When the Girl Scouts ran one, they wouldn't do it. I thought that was interesting. Okay, a shot at St. Paul Union Depot, I believe. And it's one of the brand new FP45s, which had no radios, and what else didn't it have?
Cab signals.
Cab signal.
Yeah,
That's
but the
right.
FRA dropped the requirement after these were delivered, so they never had to put them in.
Huh.
So then they were able to put them in the lead. So. 'Cause they need-
John, that looks like the butterfly shed at Minneapolis.
So you think this is Minneapolis,
I
huh?
kind of do.
I think so. I think this is track 1 and 2, and they're on track 2 at Minneapolis.
I agree.
No, they're not on track 1 or 2 at Minneapolis. We never used 1 or 2. It's either 7, 8, or,
Oh,
Okay, I'm got them backwards, John.
okay.
that's Minneapolis.
Well, yeah, there's your Gold Medal flower. But I'm not sure where at. Where are we?
Minneapolis.
You're headed towards the bridge, or just coming off the bridge.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yep.
okay, see. Okay, here's a Cal Zephyr car. What is it, Silver Penthouse?
Yeah.
And occasionally, those cars would come up here because Bill, the Burlington, they bought an extra car, 2 or 3 of them. And they had some strange deal where the inbound Cal Zephyr, the cars went to the overnight Exarban. They made a round trip there and back, and then they went back in the Consist to go west, which really seemed bizarre to me.
Is-
But anyway, it's at the Minneapolis Coach Yard.
Is this car down in Charles City now?
No, it is
It's
not.
not the same car. Okay.
No, Silverview is in Charles City, and that was moved to Oregon, Illinois a couple years ago.
Silver View was a full parlor. This is 3 bedrooms, a drawing room, a lounge, and the bullet end. Okay, this is at the Coach Yard over at the NP. Probably this is after the NP and BN, the BN happened. Madison River is a car I was always interested in. It's sitting at a museum up in Washington somewhere, but its original use was a original OBS car, if you could call it that, on the early North Coast Limited. Is that right, Bill? Right.
Yeah.
This is again at the Burlington Coach Yard. We're looking north. And of course, they did pull cars between the 3 roads. Looks like an NP car back there. These are beautiful, beautiful cars.
I'll say.
Oh, look at the cars.
Okay. We got a little game we play here, and I'm not gonna have the game
Here we go.
tonight, but the group has some, let's identify the cars. I won't bother you with that tonight, but okay, I guess you want to play the game.
I'd take that 61 Chevy in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I'd even take the Volkswagen.
Yeah, that's an original VW.
Not a minivan in sight.
Well, you also don't see any SUVs in
No.
sight. And I'm guessing no matter how much we go to, these are all American made.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the bug wouldn't be.
this is Northtown, I think. So there's a few more shots of this thing in here.
Wouldn't the 4533 be a BN number?
Well, that's an SD45X GM demo. That's a
Oh,
blue and white engine.
okay.
Some of them were, but not this one.
There you
There's
go.
more shots of it in here. You'll see. That one. Okay, this is easy. Who knows what that is? Oh, come on. Prescott, yeah, bad, man. He's coming off the bridge. You can see the bridge off on the left there behind the tail car.
Wow, that's,
Is that a cool shot?
Yeah.
Still there. Yeah. Muddy waters. They
Yeah.
got a deck out and back. So, oh yeah. Yeah, they moved the track over and used that turbine. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, these are ones I like.
Yeah.
Bob, oh, Rivard,
That kid is-
Rivard just came to life here.
Or extra.
Look at that.
Oh, dude.
So
Greg's
now,
gonna bring that over and run it.
you bet. And the lead engine's a helper. I think that came off at New Brighton, but
Yeah, that's what they.
I think, didn't Stu say these things went to Granite City? They went down to Chicago and then
okay, right,
eventually on to
right.
Granite City. So,
There's that famous shot in Dorn's book at the golf course
Right.
bridge of one of these trains.
Oh, and that bell.
I would hear those things at night. out
there's
my
the ore train in
window.
the background.
Oh, man, neat. The
You
ice
need an
house.
ore train on your layout, Bob.
What's that?
You need
Is this up at Northtown?
Durham.
Right at the back,
Sure.
backdated for one night, just for you, Greg.
There you go.
Had a gurgle.
They did
Yeah, they
add a
did.
very unique sound.
Yeah.
And
You know,
I
there's
actually,
more
I have a
about-
cassette somewhere in my attic.
This bores you,
Oh,
Dawn, I'm sorry.
I recorded it.
You can still see the ice sheds in the background there too.
Yeah, the ice house is
Yeah.
still there. I think of that.
No, you're looking at Central Avenue,
That's
just the other
Shoreham?
side of those, that's Shoreham.
Yeah.
We're looking kind of
This
southeast
is
maybe.
like
here,
the
Bob?
B yard and the A yard that ore trains coming out of the A yard. Cause they could do.
Okay, this is the car that I owned along with Bill Cordes and Clark Johnson and several other people prior to the NP car. This is a heavyweight. It's a Woody, and the railroads used screws to steel plate it, and they covered the screw heads in, and it never, ever dawned on most of the railroad people it wasn't an all-steel car. Bob Anderson, you certainly know that. That was Vince.
Either.
From that one, I can't.
Yeah.
Those were.
So what railroad did that come up with, John?
The Sioux Line car. It ran
That's, okay,
between the
that's,
Twin Cities and Winnipeg as an observation lounge sleeper along with the car the hell was it? Winnipeg something or other. And they were the obs cars for the drinking. And the story that we heard from a lot of employees, there was a lot of booze hauling between, the period of time that the United States decided liquor was bad for everybody. And no, of course not. Yeah, that's the one where the carpet rose because we were doing 103 miles an hour.
But I think that's what those.
That's cool.
Okay, this is the Moorhead Great Northern Station, I assume?
So what, is that a Western Star we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
okay, where were you doing 103? What was that about, the 103 mile an hour?
Between Milwaukee and Glenview on the mail train. It was slow between the Twin Cities and Milwaukee, and it really, really, really moved between Milwaukee and Chicago.
For some reason, yeah.
Okay.
You got the block.
Wow.
But I think.
Yes, we did. Okay, here's one of the three business cars that Northern Pacific bought in the late 50s, mister?
1905.
Yeah, the Madison River, the Clark Fork River, and the Yellowstone River. Yellowstone, I believe, Bill, was the president's car. Oh, okay.
And now this is Fargo here, is it not? Okay. If you look, if you could pen right a little bit, you'd see Bill Kubler when he was about 12 years old standing out there.
There you
watching all this stuff.
There you go.
7, okay.
One of these cars is stuffed and mounted down at Fort Worth at the BN office complex down.
Really?
Okay, where do we think this is? Out west?
Haver or
Well, it's not Haver.
Wilmer? Yeah, because isn't the depot of Wilmer kind of set back from the mains?
Yes, it
Wait
is.
a minute, Wilmer, oh, yes, I see what you're looking at. Okay, yes.
Haver? You thinking of Haver?
It's west of, it's got a big trestle across.
Cut bank?
Cut bank.
Yeah.
To me, that was like.
Well, if you look both on the coach and on the building down there, it's obvious with the latest goat. So it's after what, 66, 67.
60, yeah, has to be by 67 for sure.
Okay, this is at Fargo and this is the Ready train, which became the Red River. And it left there about 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Way cool.
Number 14, you mean?
Well, it was
Right.
14. Red River was originally 11 or 12, and the way the GN did it, they decided it should be train 14 instead of 12.
Well, they were running it via the Wilmer line.
It might
I
be.
don't know if that made any difference.
1146?
Didn't the pendulum car migrate onto this train at one point?
Yes, it
kind of like
did.
Its career.
Yep.
That's Northtown there, isn't it?
Sure looks like it.
Wow.
75 there, 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, I bet he was cruising. Well, it could be the Gopher Badger. Going up
Yeah,
Coon Creek.
eight. old-
Well, you had the mail contract on the Gopher at night.
Yeah.
I would suggest it's the Gopher.
Well, it's just going by 44th, I think. Isn't that the train order stand for 44th?
What kind of van's over on the left?
What kind of what?
Well, they called it 43rd there, 43rd Avenue.
Well,
Tunnel line.
Rick's kits would that take to do?
Well, there you go. There's the twin
44th.
ports. That answers that.
Oh, look at that, Eric. Huh?
Eric, I'm going to really push for MTM to get this car and
Big train.
do something with it. I hope they are. You said they are.
What is the car right ahead of the corrugated car?
That's a Frisco car, isn't it?
No, ahead of that one.
Yeah.
Not the corrugated one, but the next one up. Is that like some kind of modernized weight or something, Eric?
Ex-Northwestern coach. Oh.
Well, the 900 cars were replaced by the cars they got from the Frisco, and those were very old Empire Builder cars. That might be one of them. I
So, and
don't
here you
know.
go, Jen, you were talking about how they didn't why the twin ports and Twin Cities.
Right.
He's actually got the back of the car against the train, doesn't he?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yep.
You could not ride the parlor car going northbound and expect to have the windows, but southbound it worked just fine.
Yeah, yeah.
They paid $6,000 for LPN.
There you go. What brilliant. Okay, here's the
Well-
Great Northern Depot prior to 1978 when we moved to Midway.
You know, John, me and my
That's
buddies lit an
amazing.
M80 in there one time.
Oh,
That was
good.
pretty cool.
Good.
Love that depot.
That's neat.
And again, I would tell you that if 50 years ago I asked you which depot in Minneapolis would be cut down and which
Yeah.
one would stay, nobody would say the Milwaukee Depot would be the
Yeah.
one staying, but certainly is.
Can't understand
Hey, look,
that.
there's Cy behind the ticket counter.
Well,
Right.
does anybody know where the picture of Jim Hill wound up? I suppose the GNRHS has
I
it?
thought I heard the Historical Society. Does that sound right? That and the big painting of the
No,
reservation
oh,
and
the-
stuff or whatever?
that went to Haber somewhere out there, I was
It
told.
did, huh?
Yeah. Now, this would be the West Star and this is over on the Wilmer line?
Well, I kind of thought this might be up by FMC. But maybe not, I don't know.
I don't know. It's again.
Those
Oh,
are-
but you have to realize the goat is still on the train, so it would be dated
Yeah,
accordingly.
that's true. But didn't that train go via Osseo? Well, they moved.
Only until 63. 63, it was rerouted by Elk River.
That's a cool photo.
We were at an MRA meeting late in the fall there of 63 when the last Winnipeg Limited went via the Osseo line.
Oh,
The front of the engine, oh, there we go. All right, let me tell you about this. I got
there we go.
wind. I got wind of a special train for Donnelly Publishing. And Warren and I went over and photographed it. The first car behind the engine is the NP Ops car that the Burlington owned, and they painted it silver. And there was 2 or 3 sleepers and a full diner, and we followed it all the way into St. Paul. And the Hudson Depot's been going how long now, Gary? I don't know about 80s, but I would certainly think early 90s.
Well, that's the long version there. The short, it got short by a freight car. Freight car came in one end, the operator was running out the other.
There's your ops car.
Yeah, this is the 483, and it's, the Burlington owned one of the cars out of the 6. I believe they did the same thing on the Great Northern, and,
I know.
well, yeah, but anyway, they came into St. Paul and they put the whole train on the north coast going out.
That's St. Paul.
Oh, this is the string of cars that were after I bought the car that I had, the Montana Club. They still had 4 of them. Yeah, look at the North Coast sign. That'd be a lovely addition to anybody, except when they slop green paint all over it. This must be the yard outside St. Paul Depot, is this?
These are mixed
Yeah,
up.
this is the
Sorted right.
this is the this is the yard under the 3rd Street Bridge, and then further east.
That one.
They had a
Wow.
they had this, they stuck the cars. They had it was a building there that lasted until I don't know, into the 21st century here, that they finally tore down. I think about must have been about 10 years ago. What do you call it? The stock. What do they call that again?
That was the old commissary.
The commissary. There you go. I can't get the words out anymore.
Is this
But it
possible?
was right.
Amtrak North Coast Hiawatha?
No, that's over at Hudson again, John.
Now that's Hudson, all right.
Oh, yes, okay. Yeah.
What
On the Omaha.
the hell is it doing over at Hudson? And I don't understand that one. On the Omaha,
The fan trip.
I don't get that.
Illini? Someone say Illini.
I suspect that's me in the picture, but I don't know that.
It does. It's back over at St. Paul.
Yeah, there's a 392.
Down by the commissary there?
Yes. Well, this is at the yard, I believe. What did you say, just beyond 3rd Street?
Yeah, it starts at 3rd Street and goes east.
Those platforms are still there.
Yeah, John, that's the old
Yeah.
NP commissary.
Yeah. That's it lasted into the 21st century. I think they tore it down about 10 years ago, roughly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Still there.
Wow.
Trees growing.
No, the building is gone, isn't it?
There's no platform. You can actually see the platforms on Google Earth.
There is a
You load 'em up, you can
very
see.
old heavyweight
Yeah.
NP.
There's
What
the
would that
commissary
be?
building.
Bill, what would this be pre-war, wouldn't it? Certainly.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh yeah.
So it's a coach.
I
Sitting
think-
next to a Frisco coach.
Yeah. It's just,
Okay, here's a
but yeah.
Pacific locomotive that the Rock Island bought, and if you
Yeah.
you bought yourself a Minnesota Rail calendar, I believe last month had a picture of the train coming in, the Plainsman, but
There, look at that. Wow.
Jeez,
St. Paul.
That's
Yeah.
doesn't look like this today, folks.
That's another crying event when they
Here's
discontinued the
Denver
Plainsman.
For Silverbrand, or or Silver Chateau.
Where is that? That around here?
That's an old Denver Zephyr car.
Yes.
Sure doesn't look like this area.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
gotta be the Q, what do they call it in Chicago? Zephyr Pit.
Zephyr
That's
Pit?
gotta be the.
Yeah, that's a Zephyr pit. Yeah, that's what it is.
Look at way over in the corner, there's an E unit sticking its nose out. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, this is one of the shots Warren got 31 passing 32, and I don't know where that took place. It was somewhere west of Williston.
That one, the
Hard
print.
to say.
Well,
Well,
that looks like we're
Eric, you're
sitting
gonna
on
be
Puget
sad,
Sound,
isn't this-
doesn't it? Or
isn't-
are we on the river?
Yeah, well, Eric, isn't this either the Port of Seattle or the Port of Vancouver? Oh,
Yeah, it's a
okay.
window.
Huh.
I'm betting that's Puget Sound.
Well-
No. How much you want there?
It's got to be the Puget Sound for sure.
There's Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Which way are we? Oh, this is coming out. Which are,
Yeah, he's just crossing the Wilmer line there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Funny, my memory said it had 2 tracks there on the Wilmer line there,
Well,
but I obviously I'm wrong.
I think they're under the second unit. You can see the mains up there behind that first unit.
okay, where are we?
Oh, I get it now.
Where are we?
Yeah.
Next picture, the Northwestern.
That is the
Well, the
roundhouse
go ahead.
up kind of where Broadway Pizza used to be in North Minneapolis, maybe.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
the
this is
Omaha
West
Roundhouse. up there.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
West Minneapolis on the Northwestern.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sound right?
It's just south of Lowry, right?
Yep.
Or actually, it's more like Broadway there, I think.
No, it was north of Broadway, right where the A line curves around the river.
Yeah, it was the A line that went across, curved around the roundhouse to the, to the west. It curved around to the north and west of the roundhouse. Yeah.
Okay, this is back at Northtown. And there's your EMD demo that we talked about, whoever was asking about that.
So what year are we roughly at?
Oh,
Hmm. Must be in the 70s.
5X. Those are 45 X's.
SD 45, or SD 40. Demo.
Or 45 X's, I think is what those actually were.
40 demos in black.
Well, they were still in service around here in those years, Eric. They ran on the Scally of all things. Right, Bill? Didn't they run those Alcos up to Duluth a lot? Those RS11s?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Well,
I
even
think you're right. Yeah.
thought they ran them. I don't know. Andy, you would probably know that. That was kind of your.
Yeah, the Scally ran those covered wagons until quite late.
Okay, this surprises me because the Duluth Museum is pretty touchy about where this goes, and I am stunned to see that it was in the Minneapolis Great Northern Depot, but it certainly was. Now, Willard Munger, before he died, he commandeered an awful lot of usage from the political point, and he may have had a special train come down here, but this surprises me.
That cool.
Munger had a lot of draw.
Neat shot.
Yeah.
You know.
that is a-
He was a nice guy. I met him a few times.
Here's the Minneapolis Eastern connection up next to the post office up there. And this would indicate to me the 98 means it's after the merger, and it's probably the afternoon gopher,
Duluth train, sure.
because they still
Yeah,
have,
that's what I would guess. Yeah.
Yeah, Minneapolis. Okay, that's a North Coast Hiawatha.
One. That's about 1.5 miles west of Eastern Washington.
Is that area called Sear, C-Y-R? Is that the bridge at Sear?
That's Milwaukee Road.
well, aren't we in a Great Dome here?
shot.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it's-
So are we in the N? Is this on the NP or the GN? with a great dome. Really?
Well, the builder went.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. Yep, yep.
What?
yep. That the North
Yeah, they
Cove
were going,
builder both went via the NP.
Yes, they did. There was
yeah,
a
they went by,
conflict.
yeah, they went by they went by Yakima, yeah.
And by 1973.
After 70. Because when I rode out there, both trains were on the NP.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they didn't restore the High Line, the Great Northern High Line, until much later, around, what was it, around 1979 or 80?
Yep. That's a cool shot.
God, there's a lot of locomotives on
Yeah, it
that.
just isn't each.
Okay, we solved that one.
All right, tell me where we're at here.
Man,
That's a good question.
not much to go in there, is there?
Well, Minneapolis Junction, but I don't think we're at Minneapolis Junction.
That isn't Grand Forks, is it?
I don't know.
I was wondering
I
that.
don't
It
think
kind of
we
looks
can.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Grand Forks Depot was much larger than that, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, yeah,
See, that's the one where they backed 5 miles in from the junction and
right.
Amtrak chose to put the Grand Forks Depot way out there to save some time.
Boy,
I
Well, it was only
thought I
2
was-
miles, but
I thought
it was only 2 miles out. Yeah.
I thought I was told that the building still exists and it's a law office or something.
So, John, the building does still exist. I saw when I lived up there. I'm looking at some old historic photos of the depot, though, and that ain't it.
Well, there's a Northwestern car, I believe, isn't it, Gary? Oh, there's a train directory board that was right behind the information desk. Damn, wouldn't you like to have all those trains running?
yeah, really.
How about 6:45 Empire Builder, 7 o'clock, Zephyr at 7:20?
Each.
Starts out with the Empire Builder and ends with the Empire Builder.
God, were there still that many trains in 1970? God, that's a lot of trains. Yeah, I guess they were all there, weren't there? Yeah. Okay, I got it.
That's a neat.
Yeah.
Okay, you people should know early on the North Star chapter met on the 3rd floor of the Great Northern Depot. And this is the shot out of the window because every time a train came through, the meeting adjourned for a couple of minutes and the windows popped up. Well,
Yeah. We had to pay our homage, you know.
the cars were parked there when they took the tracks out. And this has got to be a pretty late shot, I would say. Oh, look at there.
Oh,
This is a really nice shot here.
yeah, it's-
If I was going to pay some to color it, I think this is the one I paid to color.
Yeah, that'd be great if it was colorized, yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't exist today, I assume.
No, it's all gone.
That's the Hutch engine, and this is afternoon light, so he's probably dumped his train at Lindale and he's headed up to Minneapolis Junction to tie up. That would be my bet.
Well, remember early
Yeah,
on,
that would
they had a combine and the combine was brought from Lindale Junction to the depot to
Right.
unload the people.
But this is he's got to be.
Right.
Yes, that's a
Yep.
boiler. Yeah. Is that the A5? A6? I have no idea where this is.
I-
Seattle?
It kind of looks like the eclipse there. Yeah.
Oh, look at this with a business car on.
Puget Sound again.
Yeah. Puget Sound, yeah.
How does Puget sound?
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Doesn't it?
I would think, anyway.
So you don't think it's Lake Minnetonka? Okay, that's, okay,
Okay.
there's the
Well,
Milwaukee
I don't know.
business car. We had a
Yeah,
Milwaukee business car.
that'd be,
Go ahead, Ed.
yeah, you might have been right there, John. Maybe it was out at Wayzata there. I just can't remember how much of the lake you could see there from that point.
Lots of pretty
That's
big.
great. It's hundreds, so.
No, that's gotta be Puget Sound.
Yeah, it looks like. It looks like the tide's out too.
Yeah, it does. It sure does, doesn't it?
Okay, the Milwaukee
catch.
business car, they had a vice president who had a wife that was very, very sick, and Milwaukee let him use a business car, and it was parked up here at the Milwaukee Depot, and she was being treated at the University of Minnesota, and I want to say it was, I don't remember what the guy's name was, but Kronberg struck me. Andy, do you know? Do you remember this? Oh, okay, moving on. I don't know where this is. This is St. Paul, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Let's see.
It's not Minneapolis.
It's
Well, it must be
rare
St.
to-
Paul Union Depot.
It's very rare to see the F-45, FP-45s back to back, but I have seen pictures on occasions. Huh.
Well, in '67,
Here.
in '67, the Milwaukee still had cab signals, and it was 90 miles an hour all the way. That's when I worked for the Milwaukee then.
Okay, this is a,
Twin Ports or Twin Cities, one of those cars?
no.
No.
Bill, isn't this one of the coach lounges before they made it into Travelers Rest?
No. It seemed like in Holiday Lounge.
There you go.
Two of them on the west coast, staying in that configuration.
If the next shot is a sister shot of it with the parlor seats in there, exactly. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, so in keeping that pool trade,
Yep.
be 492 or 492.
Well, obviously Ocean View was the Amtrak car that they just got rid of in the last 18 months. Unfortunately, isn't it up in Canada on the CN? Wonderful. We don't need no dome cars.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. A very
Yeah.
old NP business car. This must be at the Mississippi Street yard in St. Paul.
Yeah, Mississippi.
I guess, yeah.
This is definitely Seattle. I was with him on this trip.
Yeah.
This is
Boy, it sure doesn't.
Vancouver,
it sure-
isn't it?
It sure. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Vancouver where the main line goes straight ahead to Seattle and the line to Pasco cuts off to the right. Oh,
Yeah.
look at this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow. Sharpness on this is phenomenal.
The white one.
Okay, where on the West Coast? Where in the West Coast is this again?
What? Well, the car ahead of it,
Little Chief Mountain.
where the white had the real wide white band across the windows there. Look at that.
Well, this is the NP coach yard. And-
Weren't we down there about this time messing around when all those obs cars were sitting down there, right?
Cy, do you want to come to confession right now and talk? I know Al Wallen was good to you. Is this the yard where you went through a diner and opened a tray underneath somewhere and it was full of silverware?
No, that was up in Mississippi.
Look at that.
Oh, I see.
Look at
Okay.
that. What a shot. All those bullet in.
Well,
That's pretty neat.
yeah, don't worry about it, Si. The statute of limitations are long gone.
Is this 11, number 11, is that the Port of Seattle, Port of Vancouver?
Here, let me back up. It's that one. right
Okay.
there. Yep. Well, it's both of them right there.
I know this is boring to some of you, Don. Well, you got a room full of passenger fans here, so.
Oh, yeah. Varnish.
Now that looks to me like one of the coffee shop dormitory cars. It's off the Cal Zephyr, so it,
Silver Club was down there.
oh,
Yeah,
The dumpster yard.
Really?
Silver Club was made into a private car, I think by Doug Ebert, and they cut a platform in. Oh, okay.
yeah, John, that's one of the CZ dormitory lounge dome cars.
Isn't the Silver Club at Duluth? There you go.
Bill,
Now, there's another shot that if you colorized, That's pretty nice there.
Bill, wasn't that one of the very first engines painted BN, that 9942?
That's how I remember it anyway.
That is just cool.
Oh, here we are in the St. Louis, aren't we? Yeah,
That St. Louis?
yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it.
God, look at that train shed.
Frank should have came. He would.
We had an interesting story. I met the car foreman at Union Station in Chicago because he was ordered to go over and inspect the NP car. And he looked it over and he looked at me, said, "This is better than anything we're running." Now, that car is in a museum in St. Louis. This is the car off of the Abraham Lincoln.
What a nice looking.
Yeah,
Well, it's
that's
pretty.
a nice looking rear then there.
Gulfmobile, Ohio.
That'd be another
That goes
nice one
back
to
to the-
colorize.
Yeah, that goes back to the late 30s, that car, doesn't it?
Yep.
That's getting into the Art Deco look.
Yeah.
Hey, John, who are all these guys, huh? Is that on your car?
Yes, obviously. That's one of the owners standing up. That's the late Homer Johnson who lived in Edina. You want to bitch at me about the red color that he ordered that we put on the car. He was the one, and he certainly had money in the car. And yes, what color red would you like, Homer?
Homer the former.
I don't remember offhand. Oh, look at that. NP locomotives, NP dome coach, Great Northern.
A lot of blue in there.
Again, this might be a good one to color. Where are we?
You got me. That
Beats the hell out of me.
Illinois, maybe?
Where?
Oregon, Illinois? Is there a big curve down there in the west end of the bridge? I don't know.
Yeah, there is, yeah. Yeah, there is one. Yeah, that could be Oregon then. Of course, it's all single track in that area except for the sidings there.
Late John Strauss in several of his passenger books indicated that coming out of Chicago in the late 60s, when the North Coast and the Builder and the Zephyr were combined, there would have 8 domes on the train or some phenomenal number, and 20. Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at this.
Is that you, Greg?
Me?
Well, who's up in the doorway?
That's I swiping the drum head.
No.
It's a nice shot of the Union Depot though. Spud looks
Well, that's Minneapolis. That's a
pretty
gateway
good there.
background.
Yeah, that's office
Oh,
car.
maybe that is Minneapolis.
River.
Yeah, that's right. That is Minneapolis because that's the apartment building that went up
The towers.
right around 19.
What's the car
Yeah.
2 X over? Is that an office car?
Kind of hard to see there.
We had a little problem with air conditioning, and sometimes the rear door opened, allowed the air conditioning to work a little better because it came in when the wind blew. Oh, look at that. There's,
Me again. I agree.
now this is,
Bob, how did that crap get in there?
Lamar just woke up.
Yeah, right. I'm awake. Kind of.
this is red and white.
Oh, Jesus.
Damn, this would be a nice one to colorize.
Yeah, it's got to be red and white. Yeah.
Oh, this is the 2 cars that were permanently assigned. I don't want you to use that word. They paid to storm in Milwaukee. This is
Imperial Leaf.
Imperial Leaf and Golden Moon. One of them had a charter wire. One of them had a bathtub in them. I imagine it was the,
Really?
Yeah.
Water lounge.
boy, look at it.
Cool.
Short train, 4 cars in front of the business
Well,
cars.
and he's on the passenger eastbound, maybe over towards Lexington or something like that, maybe.
That makes sense.
These were people who were not very interested in showing you their cars. It was a business expense and that's what they used them for. I have no idea if the cars exist today. I haven't been through Milwaukee recently. Maybe they're still stored there. Okay, now this is obviously Junction.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harrison Street.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was before it got wrecked. Right?
All right.
Before it got wrecked, right? Wasn't that in the Maiden Rock crash? Didn't you tell me? Right?
Oh,
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, it got mashed pretty
that's
good.
not very kind of the locomotive. Ooh.
No,
That's STP 40.
Yeah, and that's John commenting, so. So everybody's home.
Wow.
Well, some people are at a meeting and other people watching from home.
Okay, okay.
I thought one of those crews got killed.
Where was the wreck again?
Maiden Rock?
I think this unit, one of these units is still at BN, but I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
know what happened to that.
It hasn't one of those been saved? SD?
One went to MTM.
Okay.
one.
I thought this
Yeah, the
was
one in the
passenger
pictures at
car.
the NTM.
Yeah.
Well, it's all different things that Warren took, but it's supposed to be Great Northern.
Okay, so it's
Supposed to be
not
Great Northern.
strictly passenger cars, but obviously it's passenger locomotives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-5. No, can they hear us?
No, it's
Oh,
muted. We're
Yeah,
muted.
yeah, okay, that's good.
They
Yeah.
kept cars stored originally after the
St.
Amtrak
Paul
up
Depot.
at the St. Paul Depot. How many of those cars did you walk through? Some of them?
You bet.
Oh, it sends shivers through my spine.
Oh God, look at that. Oh, I love those engines. They're my favorite engine.
Okay.
They're such.
Bob, you're not muted.
Well, it says I'm muted. Ah, I don't know how to be muted on my cell phone. We couldn't get the computer to work.
There's an interesting story. I don't know if you found it or not in the slide, but it showed Warren took a picture of one of these cars minus the trucks sitting out at a lake somewhere in the West Coast.
Really? Crumple.
Many of these still survive.
Really?
Little cheap, yeah. Nicholas, that one can be stored. Oh, man.
Boy, this is interesting here with the Minneapolis Junction.
Big ol' SDP sitting there.
Is that a passenger boiler equipped
Bet.
Jeep?
You bet. Oh, yeah. SD. Oh, I'm sorry, you're looking at the NP. Which engine are you looking at, John?
The middle track between the F unit and
The
the,
NP.
Yeah, that's a passenger unit.
Three.
That's got a boiler.
I don't think it is. There's a bell on the big steam bell on it.
Oh,
B20.
okay, now, you guys, the Northwesterns, you want to take me through this? The BN rented it to the Northwestern, and how long did they have the junction? Do you know, Gary?
It was a while. Before they burned down. Didn't some transients light it on fire or
Yeah.
something like that?
Okay, this is in
The lady.
Grand Central Station in Chicago. When I saw the station several
oh,
times,
wow.
it reminded me a lot of the Milwaukee station with a long train shed.
Yeah. Boy, that was a monster shed.
Yeah, it was, and inside it had columns, it had granite columns or marble columns inside the building.
This is just outside Union.
Another active.
Went west on the Milwaukee, you would see this car, but I don't remember any history on it.
No idea what it was, huh?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, we'll never know. Wow.
Oh,
There you go.
there you go. There's,
That twin port, twin,
Well,
not on Port of Seattle, Port of Vancouver, right?
well, there's Minneapolis passenger station, because there's a gold medal sign. They're about to cross
yeah, oh,
over
yeah, it was different.
the Stone Arch.
Yeah, you can see the Minneapolis Eastern, up on top there.
Wow. Eric, is that it? Is that what, your car?
Not to mention the railway transfer. There was 3 tracks, two were railway transfer and one was Minneapolis Eastern.
Obviously, this is after the trek.
Yeah.
Was this just a full diner? Eric? Full diner with a hallway there and then the dining room in the left side of the picture. I'm guessing this is the North Coast Hiawatha. Oh, a lot of,
Pretty good guess, I'd say.
geez, 3 of the 4 cars on the train that carry passengers are domes? Wow. That's pretty good, folks. That's
kidding.
pretty good.
Well,
I get
John,
to
the car
go
on the
to-
right looks like one of the CZ Dome dormitories.
Yep. This is obviously Santa Fe going into Dearborn. There's the YMCA. Warren and I spent a night in the YMCA up there, and it was pretty minimal, like $1.50 a night or something, and it certainly looked like it.
The Grand,
That's Dearborn.
the Dearborn, the Dearborn station was so ancient. It was like going back into the Wild West era,
Dearborn,
like 1870s.
the head house at
Yeah.
Dearborn still exists, but obviously the upstairs had a big picture window that overlooked the depot, and you could sit up there and watch all the goings and over,
Oh, good peak.
Taylor Street ran right into the side of the train.
There you go.
You got great access to the trains, which normally get by the gateman. So that was a way of getting around the gateman. Yeah. What street was that? Taylor Street.
I'm a little
44th?
confused
That
about
means
the
the
upper,
elevator?
above the locomotive. I'm sure we're not looking at stars.
Well, that makes sense. 'Cause,
Oh.
You know, it'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is this at Northtown?
I think so. Isn't that the Honeymead elevator, man? Maybe in the background.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got a smokestack there. See the smokestack?
Yeah. Is it? Really?
Isn't the Bill in an unusual location, Bill?
NP.
To me,
Really?
no.
Huh.
Somehow that doesn't look like Honeymead to me.
Oh, huh?
I don't know.
6009, 6009D. I thought it was another letter. Okay. Oh, there's an early Amtrak with the SDP 40s.
Yeah. I remember the night when the word came down and all the big brass came into diesel control there where I was in, and they were they spent I don't know how many hours trying to figure out where every curve was and where every restriction was, and it was a big brouhaha.
Am I
The
correct?
night that they,
There never was a derailment with this locomotive on west of Minneapolis, or was there?
yeah, I think there was a derailment with that unit, and and I can't remember where it was at the time, but I do remember very well that it was a derailment, and then they realized that these suckers were derailing all over the place.
God, they ran a freight service on the Santa Fe without any problem. I mean, doesn't that seem to be
Well,
strange?
the Santa Fe had a gold-plated main line. Come on, John.
They take the steam generator equipment out of those and freight.
We had a situation where these locomotives brought the trains into Minneapolis, and then the power came over from the roundhouse at Minneapolis Junction with the F units to go west. That was the Burlington Northern requirement.
It was the number 4 axle is what was coming off the track all the time,
Huh.
as I recall, right, Bill? So, and as I recall, they pulled all the steam generator equipment out of those things when they went into freight service, which changed the weight loading on the bolster and,
Doing it.
Yeah. I get that.
yeah. Wow. Look at that.
But all those curves had to be reduced to 40 miles an hour, no matter what.
Walk the cow and calf, pulling one of them back on the track, and St. Paul Park.
Well, that's right.
We had a lot of parlor cars on short 9 and 10. And 3 days a week, the North Coast went through, and I vaguely remember, Si, didn't you ride out on the North Coast with one of the Cal Zephyr Obses on the rear?
I think so.
Yeah. And we had all kinds of different parlor cars on there. Well, here's Northtown again, isn't it?
Yeah. This is 44th.
Yeah, I guess maybe that was Honeymead then. So,
That's where the 44th bridge.
Why does this just look like a really old locomotive? Yes, it is.
Yeah, because it is, yeah. 1930s, maybe late 30s. I'm guessing.
Down on your model.
Yeah.
Wow.
That reminds,
Well, that's what I was trying to replicate. with that
Yep.
Right there.
yep.
Look at that.
We're in your basement now, Greg.
Yeah.
So the 9910 is who? Is that a Great Northern engine or an NP? Wow.
On the east side.
Sure looks like in Great Northern.
So this guy's headed up the hole in the wall.
Yeah. Well, I don't know for sure. Can't really tell until you get to First Street if it's going to go into the hole in the wall.
Which way? is it?
This is Minneapolis Great Northern Depot.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Third Avenue Bridge, overhead.
Yeah.
That's Security Warehouse, right? Yeah, that's Security Warehouse up there.
Yep.
On First Street North.
There's another nice thing to colorize, although it's a very dirty locomotive. Well, there's go back. There's Bob Schober was a good friend of mine who was vice president for the region here. He figured out we could park the car up there once
Yeah.
the Burlington coach yard closed.
Oh, okay. He was a nice guy. God, I liked him.
How we doing on time, Dawn? 8:17. Okay. We'll get her.
Wait a minute, the agreement was all 1,100 slides tonight. Everybody was told.
Oh, I said 200. So I scanned about 12 or 1,300 slides, photos of his.
We've got programs for the next 3 years.
Wonderful.
I just found some of Steve Kopaz's stash too from the 70s.
Isn't this a ranch
You
car?
Yeah.
that, Greg.
Hmm?
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yes, John, that's a ranch.
A Bebo. And Big Sky. 25, isn't it? Second one's a 28.
That looks like it's coming through the Grove Yard.
Okay, that.
Does anybody agree that that's in the Grove Yard area?
Oh,
The jury said thumbs down on that, Ed.
that was one.
Okay, where is it then?
Oak area maybe?
Where the hell is it then? Isn't it south of the Grove Yard? That's what it looks like to me anyway, but.
Oh, there's a nice shot.
It's over St. Anthony, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Is that St. Anthony? Okay. I stand corrected.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Now that's, is that Como shot?
Yes, this is Como.
Copper's coat in the background there?
And you're looking
Yeah,
at
that's Copper.
two domes in front, either the castle or the. Yeah.
Isn't that something? What a photo.
I just drove through there. I just drove through there about a week ago. I was seeing the doctor up there at Bandana Square. Brought back memories.
So in that silver dome, they lettered Burlington Northern then, didn't they? Got beyond lettering down on the lower left.
Yep.
Yeah, wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
Kind of interesting. They took the name off the car.
Yeah.
Any of those, first ones that we did with that safe?
Yeah, MTM has one of them.
Both of them,
and
Tom.
the Mad River and Western out in Bellevue, Ohio has the silver dome.
Oh,
Oh, look at that.
That's Como. That big stack there. You can see the NPR up in the stack there.
What's the name on the car?
Silverview, that's the Burlington car that was in Charles City, went to Oregon.
Again, that's
That's one that Abernathy had?
yes. Isn't that you, Bob Anderson?
No, I don't think so.
He's got long hair and I thought that was you.
Long hair.
Oh, it's called guilt by long hair.
Yep.
No idea where this is.
Yeah, didn't they paint that? Well, I mean, before the picture before that, the band was black. It was all black there on there, wasn't there?
Yep. Well, that's Jackson Street, isn't it?
Como.
Como.
Yeah.
Okay.
So's that.
Was that black lettering or was it green? I can't remember.
Black.
Black.
It's black.
Black lettering.
That's what I thought. It was black. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Front nose of a Chevy Impala?
Jeez, here we go.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. You join the group, you're gonna have to know your.
Yep, yep. They're all sitting at the shops there, aren't they?
Well, isn't that one of the cars that Duluth has?
I could see it. Over at St. Anthony.
Neat.
That's the one that hit the turkey truck on the Wilmer line. So weren't we up there?
Oh, okay.
This thing was all covered with guts and stuff in the front. So,
Who is that person?
Standing there.
Who's that person?
I don't know, someone, Lauren knew, huh?
You don't think it's me? Bob Anderson, do you recognize that person?
Well, he's bald. It's gotta be Goodman.
No, stop.
No, he's not. He's not bald in that picture either. He's just got a little thing here on top.
Yeah, right.
He wish he could rotate the. He wish he could rotate the crop.
Another river route?
You guys are really funny, really funny. Keep moving on.
That was a Burma shave. Yeah, thing. Farmer John or Farmer Brown, a bald on top. Wish he could rotate the crop.
So
That
these,
was a Burma shave thing.
nobody saved one of these, obviously.
I couldn't tell you.
Probably not important enough to save.
Place and ran for years.
Okay, here's your DW&P up in Duluth.
Yeah.
There's the Radisson with the rotating restaurant up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's called Bridge Yard. These things got scrapped up there, didn't they?
Okay, now Warren and I went up there one time and we went to the scrap dealer over there and I remember they were scrapping Winnipeg Club, which was a Great Northern Winnipeg
Yep.
train car, and there were a lot of Milwaukees up there, so. Bob Mullen, eat your heart out. You too, Justin.
So Bob's first coach came out of, the one that went to Duluth came out of that line of cars that were getting cut up.
Really?
Breaks my heart.
639 was rescued by the museum at Duluth, and that's where Bob got it from.
Oh yeah.
They scrapped an M&S center cab up here too.
Ooh,
I've seen a picture of that thing sitting in this scrapper.
Ooh, ouch.
60s, mid-60s.
Oh.
well, here you go. No idea where this is.
Yeah. That's got.
What a
Tell you, Eric, they
car.
sure love Port of Seattle and Port of Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's one of. What's a coach
This is Glacier Park.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
East Glacier.
Yeah.
Just remember, after 65, they downgraded the Western Star and started stopping the builder at Glacier and Belton.
Yeah. Well, they would stop there. The builder would stop it there in the summer, then beginning at right there around that time.
No. They
Um,
every day because the Western Star was downgraded. The tours came off. Oh, look at that.
Wow, look at that.
If I could jump in a couple slides back, that was Lake Pepin.
Yeah. You're talking about
Oh yeah. Okay.
that. That's
Good catch.
that's cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
What's going on here? Were they cleaning up after a slide or something, you suppose, or?
Isn't this the line relocation that they did out? Yeah,
Flathead Tunnel out in that area?
yes.
I think that's what it is, yeah. 1970, they built that, or they finished the work on the dam there.
Bob's hyperventilating.
Isn't the
That
red,
shorted the,
why the reds come out so dark there on this shot?
You know where that is?
It looks like Humboldt.
Yeah, that's the east end of Humboldt. Sure.
yeah, definitely. They gotta be red,
Oh, there's a nice shot.
yeah, I'll say.
Why is the
We're
Great
gonna see
Northern
what's
using
like.
Jeep nines and all that as a second unit? They certainly had plenty of passenger units.
Extra power and, the steam generator, I guess.
You know what? Me and Bill were down to see Dennis Henry when we went down there to St. Peter. And he said the steam generators were not dependable when they got to this point. So they'd tack 2 or 3 engines on here in case, because they had to have steam generators.
Oh,
So,
Oh, and so is that a converted B unit steam generator
yes.
behind?
It is. And I think that's the only, I just posted a photo a while back and someone said they only painted one of them in blue. And that's it right there. He's asking about. Yeah, behind that Jeep.
okay, there's a story behind this. This is up at Soderville. There was an older couple that belonged to the North Star chapter back in the very early 70s. And they had this for an office. And this is the car Dave Ruschenberg got, and he put a couple of baggage car trucks underneath it. And this car went up over. Anyway, the end of the story is this car got moved in the last year and a half up to Montana. And it, it will never be run again. It's 40 miles off the railroad out there in Montana. Somebody's personal fiefdom. I don't remember. I just don't. 393 sticks in my mind, but I don't know. Yes, yeah, he just moved it there and that's,
Well, that's Ruschenberg's old car though, at one point.
yes, it is.
So he would know, but Junior.
Well, he's
you know.
dead.
No, I'm talking about the kid. So.
Yeah, I don't know if Lee would know that or not. Here's another picture in the Great Northern Depot, and
They're not.
that's the heater car.
There's a heater car that's not an F unit. That short little baggage or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's a heater car, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
One of those kind of cars is over at Mid-Continent. They still use it.
Where, Dustin?
Mid-Continent
Really?
over in Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, look at that. Oh, what a crime.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
he had it for his personal office.
Yeah.
And then when he died, there was some question about they were gonna scrap it, and Ruschenberg stepped in and had it moved, and he had these Great Northern baggage cart trucks put underneath it, and it set over off of the Minnesota Commercial Sears warehouse, yeah. Then when
Oh, yeah.
Just recently.
Well, I'm glad they saved it, anyway.
here's a very
There.
nice shot.
There's that heavyweight heater car thing.
Yeah.
Don, we're at 15 minutes. I'm watching.
Oh, look at that. Go home sleeper, isn't it?
Sure looks like it.
Yeah, it's Leonard Pullman.
Yeah, the next car up is a Traveler's Rest because it's 496.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the one that was,
Really?
yeah, that's the one the BN has, right?
All this time I took it for granted.
Oh, well,
Oh, yeah, marble at it, right?
I thought it was.
moving right along, Greg. I don't know. It could be a few pounds ago, certainly.
Right. Oh, neat.
Here's a mount car.
Yeah.
Which was Little Chief that got wrecked, wasn't it? Yeah. Yep.
Oh, look
There's
at
what I
that.
put on Facebook.
Oh, Jesus, look at all that. Where would this be?
I know it. I always
Isn't this,
sharp looking.
where is this at? Is this at Jackson Street? No. Como?
That looks like the NP shop in Brainerd almost.
Really?
That building behind
It
it looks
does,
like it's
doesn't it?
still there, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Ground level's higher over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good catch. I think that is for sure almost Brainerd.
There's the inside. Kind of trashed out there.
Well, this is a problem because the glass is gone. There was a glass partition between.
Glass,
Huh.
a 3/4 inch thick. It was beautiful.
Mhm. Uncle Pete. I wonder where that is. You know, I wonder if that's Dale Street. Right along Minnehaha.
I don't know. It's
Not much to
it,
go
it,
on.
it could be Dale
Okay,
Street.
now this is when the period of time MTM, you didn't have any heat in this building, right?
Nope.
Oof, duh.
Is that 1300?
Yeah.
Before it went to Lake Harriet.
That, it's definitely, I would say that's 1300. I don't know. Russ would know that.
I remember
Okay,
that.
Amtrak was hot to try to buy some of these, and I think they bought two, and didn't somebody out east build 4 more or something?
Weren't they giving rides on this train back,
I-
Bam and back or something?
Mr. Bob Anderson and I rode on this. We rode
Yeah.
down somewhere on the Milwaukee and we paid pool in a bar that's a long time ago, Bob.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now those things, to me, those things looked awful, and they ran awful.
They also had the nasty habit of burning up.
Oh, geez. Other than that, they were nice. They were nice.
This is a director's train here. Yeah, this
Oh yeah,
is Great Northern and you're looking west. Track number 10, it looks like.
Cool.
could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, this one has the Amtrak tower and terrace. These are the Kansas City Zephyr parlor cars.
There it is again, Eric.
Oh, look at that. Don't those two SP domes?
Nice. So is that around here, do you think? With those SP cars?
Oh, I don't believe so. I don't, Warren and I ever saw them around. That doesn't mean they couldn't.
I never saw them around. I never heard of them being around here.
Just the one that went to Stillwater, I suppose, but
Yeah, one was. The SP domes were deadheaded out on the builder to Beach Grove and apparently back to Seattle again.
Oh, this is where we started. Here's the B9.
look at that. Wait, there's one of those SPs.
Now, if you got your Trains magazine from a year and a half ago, the CP bought one of these from John Clark. And it's now part of their fleet. And if you came down to watch the 2816, it was on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So John Clark's car went up to Oregon. The one that went to Canadian Pacific came out of Canyon City. The Royal Gorge folks had it.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
That I think is Haber.
Yeah, you're right.
You can have her.
Oh, look at that. That's probably the pool train, wouldn't you say, Bill? 407, 408. It made a round trip to Portland from
Yeah.
Seattle.
You can see Smith Tower in the background.
And it's still got the Northern Pacific Herald on the nose, so that dates it a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of pointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must have been before 70. Yeah.
Trailers. Yeah,
Imagine how far back in the train this is to take this shot unless this guy drove up there and
Hey, isn't that Bob Moen's car there on the far right? Isn't that a Great Northern logo in the middle of the car? On a BN car? Isn't that
Sure.
yours?
Certainly looks like 1320. Yeah.
Can you pick him up off the floor, Justin? 'Cause
Yeah, I'm here. That is my
Collapse.
car.
Right.
Watch what you say. John Clark's with me. We're both watching.
Huh.
Yeah, that's my car.
All those snow sheds out there maybe?
Fargo, oh,
Uh-oh, got us heavy Malibu sitting over there.
now this is a human interest shot. Trains would have taken this one. This is the Western Star, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Bill, is
They
either
had more
Depot and
tracks, though.
Fargo a restaurant? Is either Depot and Fargo still a restaurant? Pardon?
No, so the GN Depot is a bike shop, and then the NP Depot is like a community center meeting space.
Well, the NP has two passenger cars stuffed and mounted, right? Okay.
It did. They're trying to get rid of them.
Whoop, whoop, call Bob Moen. Bob.
John, don't you even dare.
Yeah, and that's a Montana. Made a trip up to Fargo and back, and it was a wonderful
That
trip.
looks like a 67 Dodge RT in the far right, Bob, were you?
Oh, he was a
now-
nice.
The Fargo Depot, that's still the Railway Express building, isn't it? The Fargo Depot? Amtrak Depot?
Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering if they had changed anything up there.
Where is this at? By Hoffman?
Hoffman, yeah.
That's definitely Hoffman, yeah.
7 or 8. This must be 58 in the morning because
Mail.
a lot of head end.
Yeah.
These are the last ones.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Boy, save some of the best for last.
I don't remember
Yeah,
the
no
main
kidding.
elevator.
Well, how many domes are on this train? 1, 2, 3, 4.
What a
Five-
travel.
I can see all the piping for the.
And John, it looks like it's a full dome behind that last short dome too. I think there's 6 domes.
This is 30,
Yeah,
26.
I think you're right, yeah.
Heading west.
Yeah.
He said headed west. He said east, isn't he?
No,
West.
Well, you got Warner Road in the background.
Oh, I see. You're near Hoffman looking west or
Well,
looking
we're
east.
Looking east, you're going west.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put it right up to the top.
That's cool.
Again, they got Flexivans up front too.
Well, the late John Kennedy said one of the tracks ran right underneath Hoffman.
Yeah.
Lexus man?
That's neat.
Liberace.
Like that?
Anderson.
Holy Jesus.
I think that
I don't
is
know.
it.
Well,
That's what I'm
Yeah.
Wow.
For those of you that was offended by
8:39.
the side comments, I apologize to you.
Man, what do you mean by that?
They are containers on a kind of a spine car type of thing.
What? How long did it
Container.
take? Oh, that's how many.
I've just done.
Dig up a better picture.
Wow.
John, very good
Oh.
show.